name's Reagan Brents, and welcome to Questioning the Universe. It's featuring our guest, Mr. Larson.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. We're going to start off with our first question. How big is the universe? Is it never ending, or does it have a limit? Basically, a boundary.
Hello, Reagan. What are you doing today?
I'm going to be asking students questions that we have written down. How big is the universe? Is it never ending, or does it have a limit? Like a boundary.
It's at least 10 feet long.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure it's never ending. However, we observe like 92.1 or something like that billion light years. So that's the observable universe, but there's more, I think, but we don't care about that because we can't see it.
He's wrong. Oh, look at the next student, Dias.
Never ending.
Okay, never ending. Yeah.
Okay, so astronomers tend to talk about what's called the observable universe. There is kind of like a boundary to which we'll never get information from what exists beyond this boundary. So that sphere that's surrounding Earth we call the observable universe, and I think, if I remember correctly, it's got a radius of about 46.5 billion light years, meaning it would take, it's pretty large, yeah. It is the universe. It would take a light about 46.5 billion years to travel from Earth to that outside edge.
Cool.
And as far as the other question about a boundary, so that depends on basically what's called the curvature of the universe. If the universe has positive curvature, you could kind of think of it like a sphere, like standing on the outside edge. In that case, like if you were to go in a straight line, you would eventually end back up where you started. You can kind of think about it like walking around the globe. You can go in a straight line but end up back where you started from. If the universe has zero curvature, then it would be infinite. It would extend forever. If the universe had negative curvature, then that would be a case where like parallel lines continue to diverge. So as far as distance to what can influence us here on Earth, about 46.5 billion years. As for is the universe finite or infinite, that all depends on its curvature, which scientists aren't sure exactly what that is. It appears to be close to zero, but it could be slightly positive or slightly negative, we're not sure.
Okay. Interesting. All right. For our second question, why does a person in space age differently than someone on Earth? Age differently than someone on Earth.
Time dilation, I think. I don't...
He's wrong. He's wrong.
Well, it's due to something called time dilation. So there's a couple reasons. According to Einstein's theory of special relativity, if someone is moving relative to someone else, then they would experience a rate of time flow differently than that other person. So if someone is in orbit around the Earth, they're going pretty fast compared to us sitting here on the ground. And so time would move a little bit slower for them. We see this actually when astronauts come back to Earth. If they're in space for a significant amount of time, their clocks have a little bit less time that has passed on them compared to Earth clocks. There's also time dilation due to general relativity. So this has to do with how strong of a gravitational field you're in. So when you're farther from the Earth, you're experiencing less gravity than when you're at the surface of the Earth, because the force due to gravity is inversely proportional to the distance squared between this person and the center of the Earth. So in that case, time would tick at a different rate for them as well, because the gravity field they're in is different than us here on Earth. So two main reasons: special relativity and general relativity.
Sweet.
Cool.
So in space, I could live for almost longer than I can on Earth.
Well, I mean, for you on the spaceship, like if you're zipping around going really fast, time's ticking at a different rate for you. But for you inside the spacecraft, you would age the same way you would here on Earth. It's just the rate of time would be different for us here on Earth. So yeah, you could be in a spacecraft and for you 40 years has passed and you would age like you normally would over those 40 years. But here on Earth, it could have been, like 300 years that passed during what was just 40 years for you. So I mean, you're gonna experience aging the way you normally would.
But everybody would be, a sped up clock is,
Yeah, you can think of it that way.
a weird time travel.
Yeah, you're going into the future at a different rate than you would if you were just sitting here on Earth. Yeah.
Cool. All right. For our next question, if you were in a 5-story helicopter off the ground, that is.
Okay. The helicopter is 5 stories tall, or the helicopter is hovering 5 stories above the ground?
You know what? Let's say the helicopter is actually 5 stories tall.
All right, got it.
And you were dropping off 2 objects. Which would break first? Hard-boiled eggs or raw eggs?
If you were in a 5-story helicopter, which would break first, hard-boiled eggs or raw eggs?
What's your answer? Okay, if you watch our show, you're gonna find out if you're wrong or right.
So I'm just dropping them from this 5-story helicopter?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I would think that both of them would probably break from dropping 5 stories. You're talking about the hard-boiled egg has a shell around it still, I take it?
Yes.
So the shells would crack for both of them, I would assume. I don't know if the hard-boiled egg's gonna like splatter everywhere or not, if it's that much force, but interesting question. I like the 5-story helicopter part especially.
Thank you. That is a personal touch that I made to
Nice.
the
Good.
question. All right. Next question. Is the universe in a marble-like shape, similar to what you see in Men in Black?
Is the universe a marble-like shape, like in Men in Black?
Yes. And the difference between you and me is I made this.
Great film, by the way. Fantastic. They snubbed them for the Oscars, in my opinion. Yes, it's thought that the observable universe is spherical. So sure, like the shape of a marble. You could think of it that way.
So in some way, it's somewhat accurate, but
That we're in the necklace of some cat. Yeah, completely true. Yeah.
no, I mean being like a sphere, but let's go with the cat. I like that cat.
Well, that's how the movie ends, right? Am I wrong about that? They zoom out the galaxy, and then you see that our universe is like in a little pendant on a cat's collar.
I think actually no, it's being picked up by like this other alien thing. He's collecting a bunch of marble
I
universes.
think we should watch the movie again and make sure we know what we're talking about.
Yes, please go watch the Men in Black.
Not the second one. Not worth it. Just the first one.
What about the third one?
I didn't even know there was a third one.
Okay, Mr. Larson, so say me and you are in space again, like last time,
Okay.
and we both have spacesuits on, and somehow you take my spacesuit off. How long can I survive in space without that spacesuit?
30 seconds.
You heard Miss Larson say that, didn't you? Okay, you're smart. Remember, she's smart. If you see her in the suit, she's smart.
None whatsoever. It's going to suck my lungs out. The vacuum is just going to implode me. I am toast. You're all dead.
He's wrong.
Ship is going down.
He's completely wrong.
Without a spacesuit? Like 3 hours.
Ah, okay. Well, I don't know why I'm traveling with you into space again, but I guess I'm forced to be there. So, if I were to like remove the helmet of your spacesuit, actually, you would survive a bit longer than you might think. So, I don't know, 30 seconds or something like that. So there's a bunch of stuff in space that'll kill you. For one, lack of oxygen, you can't breathe, but you can hold your breath for quite a long time. But there's also a lot of radiation in space. It's very harmful to not just your skin, but all your organs inside. There's micrometeorites, so these really tiny rocks that are zipping around really fast and you can just punch a bunch of holes into your body. There's very, very low pressure, almost a complete vacuum. So if you were to try to hold your breath, it'd probably be pretty difficult because you have high air pressure in your lungs, and because you're now in a vacuum, it would want to escape. So if you were able to hold your breath, well, I would think your lungs would explode, but more likely the air would be exhaled. And air pressure helps to keep our skin intact the way it is. Also, if you're quickly go into a very low pressure environment, you can get what's called the bends. You can get little nitrogen bubbles forming in your blood, which apparently is very painful and can be deadly. But we've seen people experience going into almost vacuums for a short amount of time and live through it and don't go blind or die and things like that. So you could survive for a little bit of time. I don't know, 30 seconds maybe? We can go test it out if you want.
Let's go. I need to start traveling in space with you, Mr. Larson. Okay, for the next question. In your opinion, what is the most scientifically accurate space movie and what is the least accurate? Why do you think this?
Is that your name? In your opinion, what is the most scientifically accurate space movie and what is the least scientifically accurate?
Most accurate has gotta be like, what is that, like Return to Mars movie? Oh, Mars Needs Moms.
The most scientifically accurate space movie versus the least scientifically accurate space movie. Well, I don't know. If I'm gonna go with a scientifically accurate film, I would probably pick one that's based on a true story. I don't know, The Right Stuff about the Mercury 7 astronauts, or Apollo 13 about that mission. But if you're talking about a narrative film, The Martian's really accurate. There's one big inaccuracy in that, but the author admitted that you couldn't get really that strong of a windstorm on Mars because the atmosphere is so thin. But other than that, it's pretty accurate. Least accurate space movies. Well, there's so many to choose from here. But I think the one that comes to mind that's upsetting is because it seems like they're attempting to be accurate and they get so many things wrong. And that's that movie Gravity. So they have some very simple things there's this debris of satellites that's orbiting the Earth that's going to damage their spacecraft. And because of the way the Earth rotates, most satellites are launched to the east because they're taking some of that momentum from the Earth's rotation, so they don't have to use as much fuel to get up into orbit. They already are taking some of the speed of the rotation of the Earth. And the movie Gravity has that going in the opposite direction. So that would be something they could have asked anybody involved with NASA or just astronomy in general, and they could fix that, just change the direction of the satellites. Also, they have George Clooney and Sandra Bullock are on this mission together, and they don't really know each other. That's not the case. Astronauts train with each other for months and years. They know each other really well. And also, they have her being hysterical and freaking out about an accident taking place and how she's this reluctant astronaut that doesn't actually want to be there. And that's just not the personality type that fits astronauts that I've seen in interviews and things like that. They should have made her a tougher person mentally.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Larson. For the next question, my friend Carlo told me that aliens are real, and he told me Joe Biden and Mr. Meade and a bunch of people.
Mr. Meade?
Yeah, he said Mr. Meade. That's what Carlos told me. Carlos Gomez told me that. So
Right.
Carlos told me that they're actually aliens.
Flat earther
Yeah.
Carlos Gomez?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So basically my question is, do you think aliens are real? Why or why not?
Well, I want to ask a little bit more about what Carlos is saying. Is he saying aliens like, I don't know, reptilian shapeshifter?
Yeah, he said
that
they
kind of
shapeshift.
stuff?
Like he said, like he like kind of like took out the real Mr. Meat, and then now there's an alien pretending to be Mr. Meat.
I don't know if I buy that, but it's interesting. As for a serious answer about alien life, yeah, I think it's highly probable that there's alien life out there, but we haven't gotten any direct evidence of that and haven't been contacted by them. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think you should turn Carlos more onto, mole people in the interior of the Earth. That's more my style of, aliens here.
Okay, for our last question, real quick, Mr. Larson. This is a really personal question. How do you eat your Oreo? Do you eat the cookie like together? Do you separate them?
Great.
It's a personal question, and if it's too personal, you don't have to answer it. Okay. How do you eat your Oreo? Do you eat like the cookie together? Do you like pick it apart, eat the cream? How do you eat them?
I just dip it in milk.
This is a personal question, so you don't have to answer it if you really don't want to. Like, I know it's personal, but how do you eat your Oreo?
I eat them whole, like with the cookies and everything. I don't separate anything because I don't like the cream that much.
That's so weird. How do you eat your Oreos?
I add mustard on my Oreos and eat them.
I think that's the right way to eat them. Thank you, Mark. We have a special guest today. I don't know his name, but he's a special guest. Okay, this is a personal question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable with it. How do you eat your Oreo? Do you eat like the cookie? Do you eat like the cream first? Or like, how do you eat your Oreo?
I get a glass of milk. I dunk that thing half in.
Told you.
I dunk that thing half in. I take a bite of it. It's nice and soft. The cookie mixes in with the cream stuff. It's good, man.
Thank you, man. I still don't know your name, but I hope you have a nice day.
I don't eat cookies.
You don't eat cookies, Mr. Larson?
Get out of here.
Oh, let me change the question. What's your favorite snack, Mr. Larson?
My favorite snack? I'm gonna go with beef jerky. That's a great one.
Thank you,
Road
Mr.
trip, gotta have beef jerky.
Thank you, Mrs. Larson. Thank you for going on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Bye.